Hey guys, tonight or today, the House of Representatives passed legislation, immigration reform legislation that would create a pathway to citizenship for about 3 million people. So in this video or in this live session, this is a live session tonight. In this live session, I'm going to take you into what they did today on Capitol Hill, who it impacts, who is eligible for it, and see what additional details I'm able to share in this session. So if you're watching tonight, give me a heart, thumbs up, and just let me know where you're watching me from. And I see that folks are starting to join. Thank you so much. You guys knew that I would obviously come on tonight to talk about what happened today on Capitol Hill. So what happened today on Capitol Hill is something that we saw coming, and we've been talking about the fact that the House in particular is advancing a piecemeal strategy to reform our immigration system and provide lawful status for a number of undocumented individuals or those who are here without permanent residency. And so we talked about in previous videos that there were two bills in particular that they were targeting for a very quick vote, quick wins, quick action on Capitol Hill. And those actions would target young people or dreamers, those who came into the United States when they were under a certain age, and then also those with temporary protected status, DED, which is the deferred enforced departure, and then also farm workers. So that's what happened tonight on Capitol Hill, today on Capitol Hill. The pathway to citizenship or to lawful permanent residence, I should say, targets those groups of people. So let's talk about what this means. And I'm going to take you into fact sheets that will just give you some big picture highlights of what's in these bills and what do they actually mean for people out there tonight who are looking for an opportunity for lawful status. And thank you so much for being with me. I see that a lot of you are watching. Thanks. This is live on Facebook. So if those of you who are watching the replay, just give this a thumbs up and comment below. I do review comments. Now let's get into it. The first bill that passed the House of Representatives today is H.R. 6. H.R. 6 is something we've been talking about. That's the Dream and Promise Act of 2021. And let's look at the highlights, guys, of this bill. By the way, share this video with your feed if you're watching it live on Facebook right now. Share this with your feed. Now, let's see. Let's get into it. So H.R. 6 passed the House of Representatives in prior Congresses, right? Before this current Congress. And so this is not new. This has passed before. It got today, actually, it passed by a vote of 228 to 197. 9 Republicans supported this bill. So this is H.R. 6. And so what are the highlights with respect to H.R. 6? So again, it is targeting dreamers, those who have continuously been physically present in the United States on or before January 1st, 2021. Now, this is different from the DREAM Act, which is currently sitting on the Senate side, the bipartisan bill that Senator Durbin and Lindsey Graham have been introducing a number of times for like 20 years. It's been introduced on the Senate side. That particular legislation is a bit narrower than what the House passed today. So you guys got to understand the difference between the two bills. What the House passed today captures more people than the DREAM Act on the Senate side, which requires that individuals had continuous presence in the United States over the last 4 years. Not so with what the House of Representatives did today. Continuous presence, physical presence is only required on or before January 1st, 2021. And it's for those who were 18 years or younger when they first came into the United States. Then there are some security and criminal requirements here that these individuals are not inadmissible for the following reasons: for criminal grounds, security and terrorism, smuggling, student visa abuse, ineligibility for citizenship, polygamy, unlawful voting, and some other types of offenses. Then they must not have been convicted of any federal or state offense punishable by a term of imprisonment of more than 1 year, or 3 or more federal or state offenses for which the person was convicted on different dates and imprisonment for an aggregate of 90 days or more. They did not commit a crime of domestic violence unless they were the victim. And then there are educational requirements, as we've talked about in the past. They must have graduated from either graduated from high school or obtained a GED or some other industry recognized credential, or they are in a program assisting students in obtaining a high school diploma, an apprenticeship program. Then they must also, as I mentioned earlier, they must pass security and law enforcement background checks. They must also pay application filing fees and such, register for the Selective Service if required. And then additionally, this fact sheet says that children of certain temporary workers who arrived in the U.S. at the age of 18 or younger and were continuously present in the U.S. since January 1st, 2021 are also eligible for relief. And so this is the big part of the the Dream and Promised Act that was passed today, H.R. 6. And then in order to get lawful permanent residency status, let me back up a little. Let me back up, guys. So the status that individuals would actually get under this act that passed today is an 8-year, this one is, this is the 10-year, and I'm going to talk about the difference with the Senate one in a moment. They would get a 10-year conditional permanent residency status. Unlike on the Senate side, the DREAM Act on the Senate side only provides an 8-year conditional permanent residency status. Now, the act that passed today does allow individuals to apply for the green card. Okay, it allows Dreamers to apply for the green card. Those who had acquired a degree from a U.S. institution of higher education, or they completed at least 2 years of a bachelor's program or some sort of higher degree program, or they completed at least 2 years of military service, or they were employed for periods of time totaling at least 3 years, and at least 75% of the time they had employment authorization. Now, this is a video that you're going to want to watch again to catch what I'm saying here. And these fact sheets that were created by members of Congress from their office, I'm going to link to so that you guys can click on these documents yourself and read these requirements again if this applies to you. Okay. Now, what else is part of HR 6 that is of interest? Well, first of all, it also impacts those who are TPS recipients, temporary protected status recipients. And what it says is this. Hold on a second. Let me just scroll back up here on the screen. Okay, so it does provide a path forward for TPS holders. What's happening here? Give me a moment, guys. Okay, here we go. It does provide a path forward for TPS holders as well as those with the DED status, as I've mentioned before. It helps them, it allows them to apply for permanent residency. Okay, so that's really the highlight there. It does allow TPS holders to become eligible for permanent residency. And I see you guys are chiming in. Thank you so much as you're coming in. If you're finding this informative, give me some thumbs up and some hearts. Okay, so let's move on from, let me back up. With respect to TPS and DED, okay, what it does is this. The act would It applies to those who have been in the United States for a period of 3 years before the before this was enacted. Okay, before the enactment of this bill, and they were eligible. These individuals were eligible or had TPS on September 17th, 2017, or had DED status as of January 20th, 2021. So just to repeat, this applies for those who have TPS and the DED status. This section applies to you. This applies to you if you have been in the United States for a period of 3 years before the enactment of this bill, and you were eligible or had TPS on September 17th, 2017, or had DED status as of January 20th, 2021. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Now, I'm going to pull up and talk with you briefly about the second bill that passed today, and that bill impacts those who are farm workers. Now, this is the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, H.R. 1603. And again, this one had also passed in previous Congresses. And what this one does is it creates or it provides a process for farm workers to obtain a certified agriculture worker status, CAW status. And that's a temporary status for those who have worked at least 180 days in agriculture over the last 2 years. This status can be renewed indefinitely with continued farm work. And this fact sheet goes into a lot more details about this. I'm not going to say too much about the Farm Modernization Act here, other than to say that there is a $1,000 fine. That's part of this one. It says that long-term workers who want to stay, they can earn a path to a green card by paying a $1,000 fine and engaging in additional agriculture work as follows. Workers with 10 years of agricultural work prior to the date of the enactment of this bill must complete 4 years of additional work. Workers with less than 10 years of agricultural work prior to the enactment of this bill must complete 8 additional years of such work. And so again, guys, I'm not going to dive too much into the details with respect to the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, but let me jump back on the screen here and kind of connect with you before we wrap up. So this was big. Yeah, it was big. One can argue that what happened today was big. It's positive. It moved us a little bit closer to immigration reform. It will impact roughly 3 million people. I've seen 4.4 million as well. But in any event, what really matters now is what happens next. What happens next? Type in what happens next, right? Because that's what matters. And so we know that in the Senate, although there were 9 Republican members of the House who voted in support of these bills tonight, on the Senate side, we know that it's going to be harder to get Republican support around immigration reform. And so now that the House took these steps and passed these 2 bills, what will the Senate do? There's a filibuster, right, that's still in effect, and it requires a 60 votes, right, threshold to get past that. And so it's going to be an uphill battle in the Senate. So let's continue to stay positive. For all my positive people out there, let's continue to stay positive and continue to watch these events. But will these bills die in the Senate? That is yet to be seen. We'll see what the strategy is by Democrats moving forward. By the way, I do have my contact information scrolling below because I've been hearing from some people that, I don't know how to reach you. I don't know, how can I book a consultation? How can we talk to you and get things going? So the contact information is below. Just reach out to us at McBeanlaw.com for a consultation regarding your immigration matter. Guys, I hope you found this information helpful. Be sure to share it with other people. And let me see if I can take a couple of questions before we wrap up tonight. Joan is asking, when will this come into effect? And so, Joan, that's a really good question. That's a good question. We know that next month, in April, that the U.S. Citizenship Act will be, they're going to start committee action around the U.S. Citizenship Act to mark that up. But there's really not much of a long-term strategy today that I've seen around U.S. Citizenship Act. These two bills that pass have more of an opportunity of getting some support on the Senate side, but I think they're going to have to be incredibly creative to get more Republicans to support this. So as of now, I don't know, Joan, when they're going to pass. Okay. What is DED? DED is deferred enforced departure, and it applies to small group of people. You guys can just actually Google that one. I'm not going to get into too many details about that one. What's going to happen next? Mercy, we covered a little bit about what's going to happen next, right? What we think is going to happen next. Let's see what's going to happen next. The Senator Durbin. Senator Durbin, he is the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and he's been talking about immigration reform and what it will take to get reform done on the Senate side. And he doesn't really see a great pathway right now for the U.S. Citizenship Act in the current form. They're looking at the dreamers. They're looking at the dreamers on the Senate side. That's the big thing. That's the big push right now. But they're going to have to reconcile and get something moving, because the DREAM Act on the Senate side, it has not moved anywhere. It's just in committee. There has not been any action yet on that. So let's just, so I don't know how they're going to do that. There are talks about reconciliation, and you heard me talk about that in one of my videos a few days ago, that, some are saying, well, the infrastructure bill, that's the next big thing, big priority that's coming up. Perhaps they'll get it done through reconciliation. And if so, maybe these smaller pieces of immigration reform, these bills will be considered at that point. That's really what I'm looking to see happen. Let's see if they advance on that. Okay. What happens next? What happens next? Yes, that's right. What happens next? We're going to see. We're going to see, right? Sean is asking, the contact, Sean, the best way of reaching out is on the website, McBeanLaw.com. You'll get through a lot faster that way to book your appointment. Okay, so Linda's asking, and this is the last question I'm going to take, is this for dreamers? So Linda, what I discussed earlier applies to dreamers, TPS holders, those with DED, and then farm workers. So watch the video, watch this again after this session so that you could get a full breakdown. Guys, I'm going to jump off now. I just wanted to do a quick session with you to let you know that the House passed these bills today. They're moving in the right direction. Little by little, guys, little by little, we will take whatever they put together right now that will move us closer to getting status for people who have been here and they need status. But what they passed today is broader than the DREAM Act on the Senate side, which is much narrower. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You may hear some different information over the next few days and weeks, but just know that there's two different legislation out there on the Senate side. Nothing has happened with that DREAM Act yet, but on the House side, they did pass it today, and it gives more people an opportunity to have a lawful permanent residency as well as citizenship in the United States. So guys, thanks so much for being with me tonight, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.